I'm Patrick Bailey with IQlist.com. Today is October 20th, 2019, and this is a class video, a how-to. And in it, I'm going to show you how to design a magnetic knob to 3D print out. In this class, we'll be using Fusion 360, which you can download, install, and use for free for educational purposes. We'll also, the age I'd recommend for this class is about 14 plus. And the difficulty, I would set it an intermediate. And with all that in mind, let me cover the idea and then get going on showing how to do the design work. So here's actually a printed knob I printed out earlier. And the basic idea behind it is it can screw in to this guy. And here we can actually put a magnet in it and we can take it out. And so that way we can swap different sizes and powers of magnets. And that way we can also make different kinds of knobs. And then I've got a nice magnet that I can hook onto a metal thing and do something. Now, in my particular case, the problem we're trying to solve is a homeschooling problem. My wife has a history map of a timeline. There you go, timeline. She's got a big old timeline on the wall. It's about at least 10 or 12 feet long. And she's had that up all year in our old house, and now we're in a new house. And so she wanted a way to easily put it on the wall without damaging the wall, because it's only going to be up there for a few years. And so one idea we had was to use magnets. And the first idea was, you may notice behind me, sometimes on my wall, I have these little dots you might notice. And that's just me being silly, because I got these little tiny magnets, and I kind of reach around and feel on the wall for where the studs are, where someone put a nail in or a screw, and it can find the magnet and hook onto it. If you get a powerful enough magnet, you can kind of go against your drywall, and eventually you'll find some piece of metal and stick to it. So my thought was, hey, I get a powerful enough magnet and I can just put this board up there like that. Well, that's okay for putting a piece of paper up or something, but not for what she has. It's too heavy. It will not hold. There's not enough, the magnet's powerful enough, but there's not enough metal behind that wall. It's too far away to really do anything. So what we came up with is, I got these little zinc plates. Let me show you real quickly at Home Depot. I don't know if that'll help anybody. But they're just these small metal zinc plates. They're 2 inches and they're in a 4-pack. Not very much. And so what I did, I took the little metal plates. I got some of that 3M stuff where you can attach stuff to the wall safely. And I actually prefer the Velcro version. So you can attach that to the wall, Velcro this on. That way it's easier to move later on. And then this is on my wall. And then I got a metal piece. And that's more than powerful enough to hold her board up. So we've done that several places, and it's working just fine. But then now she has another sheet she wants to put up, so I need to make some more. So I need to decide to go redo what I did and also make a class of it. So, but the only odd piece that's not 3D printed out of here is the magnet. And so over here I'll show what I bought. So in this case I'm using this exact magnet. It's over on, I'll put the link in the show notes. It's on Amazon. It happens to be a 1.26 by 1/8 inch magnet, and it comes in a 10-piece set, so it's a little bit over $1 a magnet, but they're very powerful. Now, if you don't need as powerful a magnet, and sometimes I don't either, I typically have been buying this one. It's the same size and diameter, but it's a little thinner, so it's not nearly as powerful a magnet, and it's just about 80 cents a magnet. I buy it in a pack of 20. So that way, I have both around. That way I can decide which one I want to use, and save a little money if I can use the one that's a little bit less strong. So with that, that's what we're doing. Those are the parts you might need. And so with that, let me go open up Fusion 360 and get going. Okay, so here we have Fusion 360 open up, and I have a new file open up so we can just get started completely raw. Now, one thing I like to always go over is making sure you have Fusion 360 properly set up. And by that, I mean the Z-axis. So I'll come over here, and I'll right-click on here, and I'll create a new component, because we're going to start with something new. And I'll call this, what did I call it before? Let's see. Magnetic nut. Yeah. We'll call that again. Magnetic nut. This will be the bottom part where the magnet goes in. And I like to open this up and click on Origin, and that shows me my 3 different planes. Makes life really easy right there. Now, one thing that I have right here, if you see over here, I have my Z-axis up. By default, Fusion 360 doesn't come that way. So you want to make sure that's set up, because then it's correctly oriented just like your bed plate is on your 3D printer. At least for a i3 Mark III Prusa like mine. So what I like to do is I go up here to under my name, click on Preferences, and then go to General. And over here, you'll see this Default Model Orientation. And if you're not set to Z up, set it to Z up. And if you have to change it, hit Apply, hit OK. You may have to restart Fusion 360 after changing that. But if you do that, then you're not forced to reorient your design at the end of the day. You can think of this as the plate of your 3D printer. That makes life much simpler. Okay, so now let's get this started. So now we're going to start and make just this, design this bottom piece where we're going to put the magnet. So I'll right click on this plane, say create a sketch. And so now I'm creating a sketch in this plane. And there's a couple of things. Now we want to start drawing some circles. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. I like making sure you know the S key. If you hit the S key, this will bring up your sketch shortcuts. And in here, you probably don't see what I have because these are how I've set up my shortcuts. So what we want is circle. You can start searching for a circle. And so there's a 2-point circle, a 3-point circle, and so on. And we have a center diameter circle, which is what I'm going to use. But since I've already, if you don't have that as part of your shortcuts, what you'll see over here is this little arrow that squiggles and goes up. If you select that, like I'll select this tangent circle, and if I select that, now the next time I hit S, I'll have that tangent circle in there. And so I happen to already have circle in here, so I can press this to use this. Or whenever I hover over something like this, you see there's a letter C. C is the shortcut for circle. So either way works. So I'll click on here this time, and I'll click on the center here, and I'll start to go out. Now in my case, I've already measured all this magnet, so I know how big I need to make it. If you're using the same magnet, you can kind of follow along and do the dimensions I'm doing. But if you have a different size magnet, you have to make your own adjustments. So here we'll start off, and we'll say 35. Boom. And we'll make another one. This time we'll push C for the tool. And this one we'll do 10. That's going to be that little inner circle. You don't have to have that, but I kind of like that because it makes it really easy if you have to pop the magnet out. So we have 35, and so, and then what I want to do is I want to create, you've seen how I made these little knobs that go around. There's a special technique that I came up with to do that. So what I'll do is I'll start making some more circles. Again, press C, and I'll go out here, and I'll go to the biggest circle I want to do, which is going to be a 50. And these are going to be like guide circles, help me get the job done. Press C again, go to the center, and go to, let's see, what do I write down here? 46. 46, C again, and the last one I'll make is 42. There we go. So I got these 3 circles. But I don't want to use them for any other purpose than a guideline. So I'm going to click on each one and go over here and make it a construction line. Click on construction, click on construction, click on construction. Now they're all dotted. So now I can't do things like extrude with them because now they don't count. You can use them as guidelines and different things, but now they're not going to be a part of your drawing technically. So now I want to make these little wavy lines. So what I'll do is I'll move these over here just to kind of get them out of the way for what I'm going to do right next. So now I've got all these bumps. And so you got to decide how many you want. So right now on this guy I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12. And 12 divided by 360 should be 15, right? My brain's thinking correctly. Let's make sure I do that math. So I say 360 divided by 12. Each one of these takes up 30 degrees of the radius. And so what I can do over here now is I can hit L for the line tool. You see my tool changes. And I'll hit here at the very center, and I'll start to go out. Now you can see I got 2 numbers here. There's the length right there, and there's the degrees. Right now I'm on the length, but I don't need that. I'll hit the tab button. It'll go to my degrees. And I'll type in 15, and you can see it locks it in. And then I'll kind of go over here. Doesn't really matter. I could make it long, but I'll just click it, attach it here at the end. I'll hit my L key. Now I'll do the same thing. Go down here, hit tab, type in 15 again, and then make sure I hit there. Boom. So I got those, and then I'll hit L again, and I'll go out here, but now I don't want 15, I want half of 15. So I'll hit tab, And yeah, half of 15 is 17.5, but in case your brain's not working that day, you can do math inside of this. So you can say 15 divided by 2, and it will solve it for you, which is really nice and convenient sometimes, especially if we're doing something complex. Do the same thing over here. 15 divided by 2, lock it in. And you can see as I try to go out, it just locks in that degree, which is very nice. And I got that guy, and then I think I need to, let's see, in my brain. I think that's all I need. I'm going to have to add some more because I always forget why I'm adding one. These are also going to be guidelines, so I'll just make them construction lines again. Boom. Boom. And now what I want to do is I want to create this arc, create this little bump. So I'll hit the S key, and there's a 3-point arc. I already have mine put up here. Otherwise, you can search for arc, and you can find the 3-point arc. I use mine a lot, so I'll just put this, click it right there. And so what I'll do is I'll come down here. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? I'll click right here, and then have my bump come out. Boom. Then I'll come over here, click right here, and have that come out there. And so you can see I've got a full arc up and down. Now what I want to do is I could repeat this process 12 times, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Or I can hit the S key, and there's a thing called circular pattern, which I use mine enough, so mine's up there in my shortcuts. Otherwise, you can search for circular pattern. So I'll click on this. This tool comes up, says select the objects you want as part of the circular pattern. In this case, I just need these two, this guy and this guy. Then select a center point. So I have to click on that and select the very center here. Boom. And you can see quantity is 3. It's going to put 3 in there evenly distributed. I want 12, so I can go up the numbers if I want. You can see it just keeps adding. Or I can just type in 12. And because we did our math right, we know 30 degrees times 12 is 360. They perfectly match up. Boom, right there. So now if I hit OK, and this completes, I can select that and extrude it. Done deal. It's a very nice and convenient thing to do. So now I hit Finish Sketch, and I'll go down here, and I'll do a couple of things. So one thing, I'll select this guy. That's my centerpiece. I need to pull it up just a little bit. So I'll hit Q for the Press Pull tool. And in this case, I think I want to go up, I think it's 0.8. Let me go double check my old one to make sure. Yeah, give me a moment. I just want to make sure Now you can change that based on, the thinner that is, the more powerful it can be. So we want, oh, not that one. I'm on the wrong thing. There we go, edit that feature. Yep, 0.8, good. Let me go do that. So I'll click on that, Q for the Press Pull tool. I'll type in 0.8. It's new body, that's fine, and there we go. Now when I did that, my sketch went away. I want to bring it back, so I'll go down here, click on Sketches, bring that specific sketch back. Now I'll go over here and select the rest of it, press Q for my Press Pull tool, and I'll pull up. And I'll go up, so I'll go up. I did this in 2 sections, didn't I? Did it 8, no, 10. Got 10 and 2, didn't I? Yes, 10 and 2, 12, okay. To refresh my mind. Oh, okay, since I already technically completed the press pull, but I did the wrong number. I can go back down here. This is my history of what happened. I can right click on that, edit this feature, and say, I want that to be 10 millimeters. Hit OK. Boom. And then I can go over here and remove my sketch so I can see my picture a little cleaner. And so there you go. Not too bad so far. But one thing I want to do is I want these knobs to kind of arch in a little bit, have a little better feature. So what I am going to do for that is I am going to, well, I'll get the body out of the way. I'll click on this so I don't have to view the body. I'll right click on this plane, create a new sketch. Oh, no, not finished, not that one. I'll right click on this plane, say offset plane. I want to make a new plane to draw from. And that new plane is going to be 12 millimeters above. And so technically that's 2 millimeters above the top of where we pulled this. So now I can select this new plane, create sketch. I'm going to sketch on this new plane. And so this new plane, I'm going to make the same knobs I made just before, but just slightly smaller. So that way I can attach them up and kind of do like a pyramid in a sense. So let me go do that. So I will hit my C for circle, choose the center. Again, I'll go out here to 35, hit enter, because I want to repeat that. And right now I'm going to get rid of this body because it's getting in my way. Hit C again, because now I need to make my other circles, but I'm going to make them slightly smaller. So I wrote this down. I need to make a 42, and press C again, make a 40, press C again, and make a 38. Boom. And now I will, didn't get made, 38, enter. So now I'll go back here because the other sketch is getting in my way in my brain. So I will remove all the other sketches. I'll move these a little bit out of the way. And again, I'll make these construction lines for convenience. Boom. And then we'll go over here and make, well, I'll hit L for a line key. Come over here and do that 15 degree thing again. 15 degrees, attach it up. Now, sometimes, like here, I'm still in the line mode, which you're going to keep attaching them. I hit escape to go to that. L key, 15 degrees, boom. And then I'll do the 7.5 degrees as well. 15 divided by 2. Attach it. 15 divided by 2. And attach it. And again, I want those to be construction lines as well. Also, I can just hit the shift key here and just select all 4. Make them construction lines. Go down here and hit my S key for my shortcuts and choose my 3 arc point. If you don't have that, you can search for it. And then I can go over here and do, let's see what I do. I can bring the other sketch back so I can stare at it. Okay, so I'll do that, pop that out, that, pop that out, hit escape, hit my S key, and then do my circular pattern again. Select both of those, select the center point, boom, go up to 12, hit OK, and so now I've got this guy. So now if I bring the other body back and click over here, and I'll click Finish Sketch, you can see, to bring the sketches back, you can see the sketch is kind of floating above that sketch, above the actual three-dimensional object. So now what I'll do is I can go over here and say Create a Loft. I'll say Create Loft, and I will select this, and I will select the new thing we just made, and we have an error. Oh, probably because I didn't, I know why. I hit cancel. I'll go on this one, because it doesn't consider this a sketch right now. I'll right click on this, say create a sketch, say finish. Now I think we should be okay. So I'll click on that, say create a loft, click on that one. There we go. That's why. Now hit OK. And boom. We should be good. Oh, we added the whole thing. Oh, let me go back. Edit that feature. It also selected, no, you didn't select the center. Hit OK. Okay, it's not cutting the center out. You know, I had this happen last time where I think it should be cutting the center out, so I'm not sure why it's not doing that. Well, we can just cut it out. So what we can do to make our life simpler, we can go bring back the original sketch at the bottom. I can remove the bodies. I can select the centerpiece, and I can extrude and delete it. So I'll press Q, and what I'll do is I will, rather than start this at the center, at the bottom, we'll do an offset plane, and we'll offset it just by 2 millimeters, just so we're not deleting the very bottom. And then we'll bring back the bodies, and we will do like that. And, oh, it cuts through, but we didn't cut through that bottom piece. So I'll go right click on this, edit this feature again, remove the bodies and choose, hit select shift and choose the centerpiece too. Bring back the bodies and cut it out, and there we go. And remove the sketches so you can see it, and there's our piece. So now I'll hit the S key. So now I'm not in a plane. So the last thing to do to this is to add the threads. So I hit the S key from here, and there's a thread. I use it a lot, so I stuck it in here. Otherwise, you got to search for it. So you click on this thread tool, or you search for it, and then you select where you want to put the thread. In this case, right here, this inside. Now, if you do it like this, it looks a little funny because what it does is it applies a picture. It doesn't actually do the 3 dimensions. So you have to click on modeled right here. So it'll actually model the 3 dimensions. And then over here, you'll see the detail. This is a 35mm size. It's M35 by 1.5. On some occasion, depending on the size, there might be some more options. So you might have some more choices. And there's a class. And you might have more choices on this. The 1.5 is how many threads per millimeter. The class, you can go look some of this up. It's interesting. It's how, there are a lot of details on how loosey-goosey you want to make it. Because some classes are more loose, some are more tight with their design. But anyway, typically I just choose whatever the default is and go with it unless you need to tweak it. And I hit OK. And then after that, I have to do one more thing that I do that typically works pretty well for me. This typically tends to be too tight, no matter what I do. So what I do is I go through here, I zoom in. And for those who may not know, I'm using my scroll key to zoom. And I can select right here at the tip of that thread. And I hit Q for press pull. And then I pull back 0.2 millimeters. That's all I do, hit OK. And I typically do that for all my threads. And for the most part, that's worked pretty well. You might want to experiment with your printer, but for me, this works pretty well. So there we go, magnetic nut done. Now let's move on to the thread and the knob. Okay, there's the nut. So now let's come up here. I'll right click on here and make a new component. It's always a good idea to make a new component. And then here you can see I can actually still see the old component. It's kind of like grayed out right now. So if I don't want to view it, I can just click on that eye and now I don't see it anymore because I want to focus on this one. So I'll click on the origin and then we'll get started. So now I'll right click on this and create a sketch. Oh, no, not that one. Right click, create a sketch. Again, hit my S key to bring up my shortcuts, and you can search for a circle or press C for a center diameter circle. And I'll type in 35 millimeters. That's what I want to do, because that's going to match up, right? Now for this, I want to do a couple of things. So I'll finish this sketch. Pretty simple. Now I didn't do this in the last one, but this would make life a little simpler. I'll press the Q tool here. In my last one I went up, which is okay. But now I'm going to go down just to make things a little simpler for how I'm doing things. So I go down. Let's see how far did I go down last time? That's a good question. How far did I go down? Edit this feature. I went down 12. And so that could be an issue because I went down 12 to make sure my bases were covered. But as you can see in my design, because the other one's 12 as well, because this right now, the way I designed it last time, this thing is 12 millimeters. 12 minus 0.8 because of that little thin, at the bottom. And also the magnet. How thick is the magnet? Now, as you can see, as I put this down, my threads are sticking out, which might be fine for you. But if you want it more flush, you may have to fiddle with which magnet are you using. So, do you want to make it smaller or narrow? Is it okay to be inside? And so for that reason, that's why I think I want to go down, because I can go back and change my history real quick. So as an example, let me edit this feature. We'll make it, rather than 12, let's make it 9. We'll make it 9. Well, no, let's suppose I made a mistake. I did it 12. I'll leave it 12 for now. We'll fix it at the end of this and make it a 9. And I'll show you how you can use your history to quickly change things. And so here's your Fusion 360 history down here. So now, I'll hit the S key, and I'll search for threads, or choose the thread button here, and then click on the outside here. Now this is my outside thread. And I want to choose modeled, so it actually will 3D print it. And then in this case it matches, but you do want to make sure that if your other one is M35 by 1.5, that this is an M35 by 1.5. Otherwise, the threads wouldn't match. If the other one was a 35 by 2, then the threads aren't going to match. But in many cases, Fusion 360 only gives you one option, so I kind of go with it. So I hit OK. And then, like what I do with the other one, I typically want to pull it in 2 millimeters. 0.2 millimeters. So hit that, hit Q, and pull it back 0.2, which you can pull it back by hand or you can just type it in. Hit OK. And that tends to work well for me, for how I'm designing stuff. So now, all I've got left is to do some kind of knob. So I will right-click on this plane and create a sketch. And I want to create this knob here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little guideline. I'll hit my L key for line, and I'll go up, and I'll go up, I think I'll go 30 millimeters. Boom. I think that's roughly what I did. Yeah, went up 30. And then what we'll do is I'll pull it back, I'll do another L key, and I'll hit here, and I'll go back along the same line, which is a little strange, and I'll make it 12.5. And I'm going to use that to guide me to do my arc. So now I'll hit the S key, and I'll bring up my 3-point arc tool. And what I'll do is, not 3-point arc. No, I don't want a 3-point arc. I do want an arc, but not a 3-point arc. I want a center point arc, which, you can go search for center point arc. I keep using it, so I have it right here. So center point arc, you choose the center, then you choose the arc. Here, so I'll click on this, go out here, and then boom, you can see it draws my arc. And you can see there's the degrees right there filling in. So I'll type in 90, because I want a 90-degree arc, and hit enter. And now here's where I do a little bit of design work, or thinking ahead, is my printer can very easily go out 45-degree angles. But it doesn't go any steeper than that, it's going to start messing up. And every printer is a little different. So my goal is I try to make things under 45 degrees. So what I'll do here is I'll hit L key, I'll click here, and then I'll go tab and type in 45 degrees. And then I'll start going back, because I don't want this to be more than 45 degrees. I could have that circle come back around, but if I did a full circle, eventually at some point it comes back down, it's more than 45 degrees. So I'll go, in fact, I'll just go all the way here. I made it too long for my needs. And I'll sit there and stare at it for a second. And I'll just kind of arbitrarily think of, maybe we'll go midpoint. If you hover over here, you'll see if you're in the middle, it turns into this triangle shape. Now you're on the midpoint. Not that that matters, but why not? In this case, its midpoint would be 12.5 divided by 2, technically. And I'll just go straight down, and I'll click on here, hit escape. But then also, for my shape, I also did a little bit arch on the bottom. So I'll come down here, click somewhere, and then go up at a 45-degree angle. Going up, doesn't have to be a 45-degree angle, but why not? And I'll click on there, and I'll say, okay, that shape seems interesting. And to finish it off, I'll click here, and now I should have my entire basic shape. But I want to tweak a couple of things. Not that it's going to help out much with a 3D print, but I do like to smooth out these serious angles right here. So what I will do is I'll hit the S key, I'll do a 3-point arc, and since I'm going up, doesn't matter, I'll just click here, click there, and boom, smooth that out. Here, I'm going to be a little careful. Click here, boom, and then here, click here, click here. But then again, right there, I'm breaking my rule about, 45-degree angle. Well, no, because that's arching up, so that's okay. I'll hit escape, and now you'll see right here, this means right where that line hits, it's tangent. And I would like to make this tangent too, so I'll click on here, click on tangent, and then click on here, and it should adjust that slightly. So now it should be a really smooth shape, in theory. And I'll go do the same thing for the other ones. I'll hit escape, click on this, click off, click on this guy, hit tangent, hit that, boom. Now that one's tangent. hit escape, select that, tangent, boom. There we go. So now, it's not looking too shabby. But now I need to clean up a couple of things. So I will come up here. Now I want this shape overall, and I want to rotate it around. But I want to get stuff out of the way because I just don't want to choose the wrong thing. So I'll come in here and hit the T key for trim. And I'll click right here. And it erases those parts. And I'll erase that one, erase that. And, oh, not that one, undo. To trim that one, hit escape. Okay, and that line is just for marking that, and that is just for marking that. Okay, cool. So now I have what I want. If I select this, I select the whole thing. So I'm going to take this and turn it. So I will come over here. I'll finish my sketch because now I want to make a 3D object. And you can see there's my knob. So I'll say create, and I will, where's my brain? Revolve. There we go. Hit revolve. Or you could choose it there, or you can hit your S key and search for it there too. S and search for revolve, which I don't have revolve here, do I? I wonder why. You would think I would put that in there. Okay, either way, I'll hit that. I'll select the axes, and I want to select this axis going straight up. And it's already at 360, and so hit OK. And boom, there we go. So now we're done. Now I got my knob. And now I can go print this out, and it's basically what I did last time. But now, let's say you print this out and you want to go fix it. There's something wrong. You made the threads too long, which I did. I made the threads too long for my needs. The nice thing in Fusion 360, depending on how you do it, when you do things right, you can go over here and look through your history. So I can go back into my history, right-click on this, and say edit this feature. And it was 12 millimeters, but let me make it negative 9 because it's going down. And if I do that, all the other future features are applied correctly to it. So the thread is still applied correctly to it. And so I didn't have to go back and reapply a thread and reapply that. So most of the time, if you do it correctly, when you change your history, everything past that history adjusts and life is good. So now I got my two things and I think they're going to work just fine. So I'm going to go print, get them ready to print. Let's print them out. So I'll right click on this, say save as STL, and I'll hit OK. And I will just do it on my desktop, so I've already done it, and I'll call this one knob. I'll call you knob. And we'll open up this, we'll click on this one, right click on that, save as STL, hit OK, and we'll call you magnetic nut. That works too. Oh, there's another thing. I forgot to name this one. If I name it, it makes life a little easier when you save it. It'll use that name when it saves it. So if I had made this knob, it would have already put the name there for me. So there we go. Now let's go prep it, print it. Okay, I use a Prusa i3 Mark III printer right now. And so I use the Prusa slicer, which makes life a lot simpler. I was using a Prusa control, and I still like that. It's a much simpler program they put out, but now they've all moved to Prusa slicer, and I think I kind of had to now. I just still hope that they make their simple setup more simple to make new people's life easier. But anyway, here I am in Prusa slicer. It's my slicer. Let me go drag both these in and start to adjust them. Okay. So here I am in Prusa Slicer. I'm using simple mode because we don't need any advanced features right now. If you're using Prusa Slicer, there's a simple, advanced, and expert. As you go up the ranks and choose other things, more features become available that might be confusing to you if you're new. So if you don't know them, it's good to go learn them, but if you're just being simple, you can just stay in the simple. So there's not much to this, so we'll just click these out here. They look good. Nothing much you want to do. We'll look at print settings. I do 0.2 millimeter height because I like to get things done quick. Perimeters too seems nice. Infill, typically I just use in 20%. And if that all looks good, then we'll go back here and we'll hit Slice Now. And there we go. It's getting it prepped. And according to this, it'll take 1 hour and 41 minutes roughly. So that looks good. We'll export the G code. And let's see, we'll save it and let's go print it. Okay, so I've got it all printed out. Sorry, I was fiddling with it. And it's working just fine. So there we go. Now, one thing, if you don't have a deburring tool, deburring tool is really nice, especially with something like this. You can kind of go around the edge, get a little deburr there, and it kind of takes that edge off, so it makes it a little bit easier to go on. So with this, if you have any threads and you 3D print them, you kind of need to help tap the thread a little bit. And what that means, you can get thread taps. If you're aware of those, you can actually get a metal thread tap where you can actually cut threads. So these aren't perfect. I already put this one in, but typically when you're putting a new one in, you want to work the thread. So you kind of work it back and forth as you go in, and eventually you're good. So I already did that in this one, so we're good. So let's see. We'll take this magnet. Let me put it right there and show you. Yeah. Take this one, drop it in there. Put this guy on. And now, since I lowered it compared to my last one, if you recall, like here's my last one. And you can see I got the little edge. Now here, because I made it a little bit shorter, you can see it's not popping over. So for me, that works a little bit better for what I'm going for. So, lots of fun. So with these, here's another fun thing. These magnets are powerful enough, you can kind of put them on your hand and actually hold it up. So it's kind of fun. But anyway, with all my prints, I do always like to go over the numbers. So to print this little new white guy I made, it took 1 hour and 42 minutes in total. It took 0.015 cents worth of electricity, and it weighs 0.016 kilograms. And at $20 per kilogram, that comes out to 32 cents worth of filament to print this little guy out. So the total cost on this would be about 33 cents to print this guy out just in PLA filament. But also I added a magnet, so that magnet's like $1.20. So this whole knob, probably roughly cost me $1.50, $1.60 to get done. But well worth the money. So with that, let me do one last thing. I'll take you over and show you what we're actually using these for with hooking them on the zinc plates and putting the zinc plates on the wall. Okay, so here's what we've put up before. And here's a little, I was doing some test ones before that I don't quite like these anymore. But there's the metal piece we put on. And now, and you can see here's her big old timeline. But now she wants to add another zoomed in timeline right below it. So I'll just show you how we kind of did it. So here are these 3M Velcros. I like the Velcro ones. And this is the stuff you can stick to your walls that you can take off later without harming it. Whatever their brand is. I always forget the name of this thing. 3M. Well, I know it's 3M, but I mean it's whatever the name brand is for doing it. So what I do is I'll take one of these metal bits, stick it on there, which I really should scissor that off. Yeah, I'll go cut that in a minute. But then I forgot last time I cut this shorter, so I don't need all that space. So there we go. And in this case, she wants it to be below here roughly, so I'll just stick it on the wall, knowing that I can remove it later. I'll let that fall down. And then we need another one too, so I'll do the same thing with another one. And we'll stick this one and kind of measure. Yeah, about there. That ought to work. Okay, so now I got two metal pieces behind there. And then I got two of these magnets. Done. Hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we're doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? just post a comment.